A, meeting opening. A1, call to order. A2, pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. It's not the same without Ms. De Ocampo. And we will go ahead and do a 30-second moment of silence. Thank you. A3, adoption of the agenda. Are there any consent agenda items that a board member would like to have discussed as an action item? Hearing none, do I have a motion that the governing board adopt the meeting agenda?
I move we adopt the meeting agenda.
Can you hear Mr. Lopez with his mic?
My green light is on, but I don't hear anything.
No.
I don't hear myself. I move to adopt the meeting agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Moving to B, presentation. B1, student enrollment presentation. Mr. Daniel Coffinger will present the 2023-2024 student enrollment information. Did I pronounce your last name correctly? Coffinger. Thank you.
Good evening, President Conchas, governing board members, Dr. Maez, and Alhambra community. I was asked to present the enrollment as most up-to-date as we could, given the timelines of how we like to post on board docs, and just to run through as we continue to get these weekly so that everyone is able to read the reports and be full transparent as to how we come up with them and what we can ascertain from them. All right, so we project prior to the school year. So our enrollment projections are developed in late fall for the upcoming school year. And traditionally, we've used a 3-year rolling average. Currently, that's including some COVID times, so it's a little skewed, and we'll probably address that later on as we look at the numbers. With the enrollment projections, Human Resources determines how many teachers, based on those projections, should be at each school and in each grade level, so that we are able to get to the class sizes that we want. Once an actual enrollment is recorded after the first 10 days of school, so we are there now. At the time we posted this, we were not, so there were still warm body counts. Once that's done, there will be new teacher, we're in the evaluation period now, and HR can make some determinations as to where we should maybe massage some of those areas and where we could use another teacher or change some staffing. Just a little history, good for myself. District enrollment peaked during the 2005-2006 school year with 15,593 students. Currently, we're at 9,402 students, and if you look at that 18-year frame, that's a decline of 40%. From last year to this year, we projected a 6.8% enrollment, and as it is now, as we're going to see in a second, we are over 100% of our projection. I'd like to thank Colleen O'Toole. She's the one that prepares these reports, whether they're when the warm body count times for those first 10 days, she's doing them daily. And once we get past that first 10 days, she's doing them weekly on Mondays. So I know some of the numbers are a little tough to see, but we're going to go through what they all mean, and so we can all understand piece by piece. There we go. So these percentages at the various sites represent the warm body counts versus the enrollment. So as you can see, the student enrollment compared to the projection. So you can see those site by site. Now we're going to look at these numbers here under each grade level. You can see those are italicized, I believe, but those will show you on average how many students are in the classes for that grade. So you see 27.3 on that one with 3 teachers. So that means we have a 27, a 27, and a 28. And then just moving down so it's easier to see, we'll go down to Cordova. You can see that 6th grade has 3 teachers currently. That's what that number is showing. Or I'm sorry, 2 if we go to the 5th grade. Sorry. And the bottom number in each one of those grids represents the total number of students in the grade. So you can see how we get to those averages by dividing those number of students with the current number of teachers. And that gives us a real-time look of what those class sizes are. All right, so the last line down there is totals. So across the district, again, this is day 4. And I'll provide an updated number for that in a moment. But by day 4, we were slightly above our projection. Very close, though. So kudos to Scott Huseman on that one. And so total number of districts in the student, I already mentioned that 9,402 is down there. Now the enrollment change column, I haven't mentioned it all yet, that is from the 4th day of school last year. Or is that correct? No, that is the change from the, let me just read it, it's right there. The percentage represents the increase or decline compared to the same week last year. So yes, I was right. So we try to, that piece is tried to compare apples to apples. So on the 4th day, we're comparing that. So during those first 10 days, again, we have a lot of fluctuation. Our projection is what we rely on for a lot of that, but we have a lot of students who are enrolled that don't show, and vice versa. We have students that arrive and do not, have not enrolled fully yet. So if you recall, you do receive ADM as a district for those first 10 days if a student is enrolled at any moment in those first 10 days. So if they show up on day 9, retroactively you get credit, so to speak, for days 1 through 10. So that's kind of because of the fluidity of those first 10 days. That's why we're doing this so frequently, doing it daily, so that we're able to kind of keep our finger on it as those first 10 days are happening. Any questions? I can go back.
Questions?
Real quick, again, this is the 4th day that you showed us?
Yeah, you can see, I don't have it circled up there, but right above about 2/3 of the way through the top there, you can see day 4. And it looks like, as you can see, that 8/12 as a comparison to the previous year, that we must have fallen on a Friday or something for day 4. We had a different day, but yes, so it's a comparison to the same day last year. Well, I'm sorry, I said I have the updated numbers. Let me give those. Where did I write them? There we go. Okay. So as of the day 10 count, which was the latest report we had, I believe we're on we just finished day 13 today. We were at 103.2% of projection, and the enrollment change was down 1.24% from previous year. So one thing I did mention earlier is that COVID year with the rolling averages was 6.8% difference. It was what kind of the math projected based on that 3 years. We did budget it more like a 3% decline. So that being said, we're currently at a 1.24%.
Mr. Oropeza, any questions? My first question is APA, the Alhambra Preschool Academy, are the numbers included into into this total enrollment
We
count?
generally don't do it in the first 10 days, but they will be moving forward on each Monday report as true enrollment.
Okay. And then the Alhambra Online Academy, my question is, have we accounted for those students? Is there an update of how many of those students are currently enrolled in our district? Because seeing that change, I think it's really great that AOA has closed, but that we still have our enrollment pretty much the same.
I do not have numbers as to where, where those students might be at this right now, and how many stayed or did not. I don't have any numbers on that right now, but I can get back to you with that.
And if you could go back on the slide.
Yeah. Oh no. Out of my control.
My question, just for understanding, is Westwood 5th grade went to CLA this year, which is reflected on here, and we see that CLA still has a negative 8% enrollment. Could anyone talk to me a little bit more about that? If the 5th grade wasn't there, would there be a even bigger negative change? Does anyone know that?
I know that our first report did not reflect the change in the grade levels, and so it was almost a net loss and gain for the two schools. And this has now corrected to basically put it in the right spot so it is apples to apples. So what you're seeing is accurate with the 21.6% at Global Academy and what is it, Barcelona? Is that what I heard? Westwood, thank you.
You mean
Still good.
Choice Learning Academy? CLA
Yes, thank you. Should be looking here.
in Westwood.
But yes, so our first report had an issue, so I don't know if those came through, but now it accurately reflects the change in the grade levels.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll move to B2, Books in Hand, Library Collection Revitalization Project. Executive Director of Educational Services, Mr. Ruiz.
Good evening, President Coaches. Tonight's presentation will be shared by Tanner Kent.
Good evening, President Conchas, members of the board, Dr. Mayes, Alhambra community. I am very excited to share our library update with you along with some of our team. Perhaps. So to take you along our journey, last year in October, we asked and approached you to fund this project to the tune of just over $1 million. Knowing that when we looked at our libraries, they had been stagnated for a period of several years, and we wanted to make sure that our students had the best, highest quality, most exciting books available to them to support as they learn how to read and think and grow as humans. We learned and realized that we wanted to invest our community in the process and invigorate our libraries not only with books, but also with our people. And so we formed communities at all of our school sites, including the Alhambra Preschool Academy, to go through the options of books that we have, making the decisions of what books their students would be excited for, their children, and that they wanted to see in their school libraries. We then, after we had put the order through, knew that there was a lot of work ahead of us. And so we posted for a team to get together during the summer, building upon the work of our library services staff during the school year, and have this team come together in July in order to ready our libraries for these new books. This was a beautiful process. We had all different staff members come together across the district. These included certified staff members, classified staff members. They touched thousands of books visiting every single one of our campuses, and we actually have a few of them here who are going to share their experience with us tonight.
My name is Jesus Saldana. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the classroom environment, seeing as I teach 4th grade, and now from my experience to then now teaching when I told my kids about like over the summer, pretty much just worked all summer. And I told them that with our library, we're gonna be going every Friday. They're a little disappointed it was Fridays, but it's more so because they know that like, well, now whatever books are left, that's what they get to choose. But I was like, not the case. We have like thousands of new books that we got that you guys are getting the first opportunity to pick out. And so this year I noticed, at least with my class, that like all of them are very like into reading, which is incredible because before it was like fighting tooth and nail to get them to want to read. And now, at least for this week, I've noticed that all of them are like, you don't have this book, can I go to the library? What about this one? And I was like, well, I have it, but someone else is using it. So then now seeing that like we have copies of like 3, and now I can tell them that if you want to read as a group, you can actually pick out those 3 books and read them together. So I think it's a great opportunity for kids to get that love of reading again.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tina Wade. I'm a counselor at James W. Rice. I was so excited for this opportunity. I applied, and the next day I called to see if I got it. And when I began, I love books, and I was like, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to help. But I got to meet people that I wouldn't have met because I'm at one school. And so it was like, wow, all these people share the passion of helping our children to have an experience at school. So it's so exciting. It was hard throwing out books. My heart broke. I was like, I'm going to keep on. But we had to, do it so we can get new books. And today, my second graders went to the library, and they were showing me their books, and I was more excited than they were. But I just got to learn and grow and meet people that were passionate about, like, their books because they worked in the library. And I'm thinking, oh, I better get with it. But it was just a great time, and to see the finished product was like, I was part of that. So thank you.
So lots of hard work. We have our library services team, which as of today is strong at every single one of our campuses for our school year. We had our team of 13 from staff around the district to help prepare our libraries. We had our community teams that helped select our books and review the list before we made that purchase. And then we were also supported with a team from Follett, the company that we purchased the books from. So here are just some pictures of in the process. Thousands of books, thousands of boxes of books, trucking companies involved. Certainly a monumental project, but we were all in it for our kiddos to be very excited for when school rolled around and they were able to look through the library and have that kind of grand unveiling of something that they didn't even know was coming. We were moving throughout the summer, getting through our checklist of truck by truck, school by school, books on shelves, having the Follett team help get them ready on the shelves for us. And then we were at our collaborative team summit, and I got a phone call on July 25th, which I will never forget, as well as the company. So to tell us a little bit about that, we actually have a video from Follett talking about the experience.
Hi everyone, my name is Britton Follett. I'm the CEO of Follett's Content Business, and we wanted to share what has turned into a really unique story for us that could have been quite a tragic situation. Rob, our head of warehouse, sent me a picture of a truck burning, and I responded with several question marks, and he responded by saying that it was an entire truckload of books headed to Arizona.
So that truck contained 5 of our school's order, over 20,000 books. Thankfully, everybody was safe from the trucking company, but unfortunately, every single book was a complete loss. And so if you can imagine, we have the timeline of school coming soon, very excited, campuses that are eagerly awaiting our books. Thankfully, the Follett team, they stepped up.
Hi everyone, my name is Britton Follett.
They stepped up. They rallied over 300 of their staff members and processed over 22,000 books in one single day. So the beauty of this was that every single book was ready for our shelves. It was in the computer system. It was bound durably so that our students can love them and they'll stand the test of time. There are some photos on the next slide of their team that pulled overtime, pulled people out of offices, whatever was necessary in order to turn around the truck and not miss a beat. They adhered to the original schedule as planned, even though that we had 22,000 books that were MIA in the moment. I included some of our core values in Alhambra at the bottom because as we engage in Alhambra and with our partners, they truly demonstrated these core values that we hold. They had an incredibly strong work ethic working throughout the night, again, pulling their team together in order to not miss a beat for our students. So I'm very excited to show you another clip that's going to go through some of the photos of our library so you can get a little peek at what our students got to see this week when they first went in our libraries. So hopefully you had some excitement. We wanted all of our students to have that Barnes & Noble experience where we walk into a space and the problem that we're having is not which book can we choose, but how many can I take? So to talk a little bit about the experience of working in one of our libraries this week, one of our newest members of the library services team at Madrid.
Hi, I'm Jessica Wilson from Madrid. And I've had the awesome experience to see the kids walk into the library this week. And some of my fifth graders' first reaction was, I haven't been to the library since kindergarten. And they were so stoked to be there. I've had to tell kids who like, can I please, please, please just get a third book? I'm like, I'm sorry, we need books for all the children, so just two, just two. It broke my heart to tell her no. But they've really had a great experience. I've had students coming up with many questions. Anytime I'm around campus, they're like, Miss Jessie, please, like, when can I come back? Like, do I have to come with my class, or can I come with someone else, or can I come by myself? And so I've had the opportunity of answering all those questions and seeing their excitement to read. And I've had teachers come up and talk about how they're like, okay, well, can we teach them how to use the Destiny app yet? I'm like, okay, let's get the classes in first. And I've had, teachers be like, oh my goodness, they want to read their books after doing a test. That's like unheard of. I'm like, well, I'm glad. So they're all super excited, and I've seen a really good experience. Like, I've seen brothers and sisters after school sitting at a picnic table waiting for mom and dad, reading, the older sibling reading to the younger sibling. I've seen really cool things so far, and the excitement keeps growing. I have just as much excitement from the students as I do from the teachers. So I'm super excited about it, and it makes me feel good because I'm like, yes, they're reading. So it's been a really good experience so far.
And so we know that the work is not over yet. We have future steps on our journey that we're going to talk about here. We have some great problems to solve, kids wanting more books than what we have, wanting to read the same book as my friends or my entire class. And so we have some ways that we're going to move forward with teaching our kiddos how to use the catalog to find books that we have available, supporting with our families to know what books we have in our libraries and sit down and get excited about the books that their kids have access to when they go to library time. Also an important research skill of how to find resources. We're also going to work to become an Alhambra library network so that if I really want a book but it's not on my school campus, I can request it from a campus that has it. It comes to my campus in the district mail, and I'm ready to read that book. Great for our students, even better for our teachers so that they're able to have resources at their disposal as they use during literature time and reading, and also for our students that want to get a group of kids together and read the same book. We have the title across many of our campuses, and so there's no barriers for our kiddos because any book, any kiddo that they choose. So with that, pending any further questions you may have, this concludes this portion of the presentation.
Any comments or questions?
I'll start off with a comment. I want to express deep gratitude in your team and Tanner and everybody who's worked very, very hard on this. This inspires the love for learning. And I think when our students have the ability to check out these kind of books, it's going to excite them. For me, I wasn't always finding books that interest me, and so I did eventually have an elective at the library where I was able to really expose myself to the ones that were. And I think this is going to be a great thing and a great way to continue our goals with getting our students to have that love for reading.
Absolutely.
Yes, this was excellent. I was a part of the parent group that was part of approving some of these, so I'm glad to see kind of the final results and steps forward. I do have a question about the next steps. I know in process we have a lot of software and traceability things at work. One of the things that the parent group was looking at is traceability for parents. So the ability for parents to know what their kids are checking out, even possibility for approval, so that not only do they have that oversight, but also we're compliant to the law that also requires that. And so can you speak a little bit about parent traceability and how that works?
Absolutely. So the app Destiny that was alluded to a little bit ago, our students have on their iPads. The nice thing is that just as we sign into our public library and be able to see our record, supporting our parents and our families with being able to access that just as our students do to see their full circulation history. Nothing special or fancy that needs to happen, and it's actually been occurring for quite some time now. Now we're just putting that resource into play so our parents can see everything that their child is checking out.
That is Destiny app
Yes.
on the iPads.
Correct. So going through ClassLink and then clicking on that Destiny app, then your students will be able to see everything that they've checked out. And it's also a way that they can browse the full catalog both at their school along with our entire district. And we're hopeful to teach our students and our families how they can make a list of sitting down with my family to decide what books I might want to check out so that when I walk into the library, I know what I'm bringing home is supportive of what my family would want me to take out from the library.
Okay, very, very good. Thank you. Thank you. I would also suggest one of the possibilities in the future would be a proactive notification system, so that people they know as it reaches out. That'll be good. But I'll take a look at it. Thank you guys for all your work. It's really awesome. And I've been to we went to the public library this summer. This is way better than the public library. The public library needs a project of itself like this. So very good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your dedication to learning and to our students. We know that literacy is extremely important. And for me, I know the stat, and many people know that their third grade literacy levels are determine the amount of prison beds that are funded through the state of Arizona, which is a very sad thing that happens. But we're committed here in the district, and it shows through the work that you're doing to ensuring that all of our students have opportunities. So I just want to say thank you. And I remember when I was at Barcelona and how enthusiastic the librarian was there over there about the space and just ensuring that students knew that that was a learning space for them as well. I really appreciate all the work that you all have done. I appreciate hearing your testimonies. I love things like this where we can bring folks like you all to actually tell us how it made you feel and tell us what you learned from it, because here in Alhambra, everyone is a learner all the time. And so that's why for me, when I saw this on the agenda, I went and renewed my library card from the city of Phoenix today, and I checked out a book. And so if we're expecting our students to read and to learn, then I need to pick up the practice myself. But thank you very much. And one last thing is the company, what is their name?
So they are Follett.
Follett?
Follett.
I would love, Dr. Mize, if there's a way that we could send a letter to every single employee saying thank you, either from the superintendent or from myself, just to thank them for their hard work on that day. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Moving to C, public comment, C1. There is no public comment today. Moving to D, consent agenda. I call for a motion that the governing board approve consent agenda items D2 through D10.
I move that the governing board approve consent agenda items D2 to D10.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to E, Human Resources. E1, New Job Description. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the preschool budget and grant manager job description as submitted.
I move that we approve the preschool budget and grant manager job description as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Any discussion?
I think this is a great idea and a good advantage that I'm glad that we can take advantage of something like this and to be proactive to move forward, and finding somebody to do this is great, and I look forward to see what we can come up with.
Thank you. Any other?
Yeah, I would just say the district deserves, a strong foundation in this area. So I think this is a great step. And also it'll prevent us from any future missed opportunities. I know there was some things in the spring that we could have looked at, and I think this will keep us on the right track.
I also want to reiterate my support, especially for our director at the Preschool Academy. We know that you're doing an amazing job, and we want to provide you and your team with as much support as possible so that you can continue the great work you're doing of educating our pre-K students. We know that our pre-K is extremely important, not only for those foundational learning, but also for our enrollment, which is important to me. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes. Moving to F, Business Services, F1, Financial Report. The submitted monthly report provides the district's financial status as of the report date, August 17th, 2023, and it's available in your packet. Moving to F2, Aware Suicide Prevention Training Grant. I call for a motion that the governing board accept the Aware, AWARE, Suicide Prevention Grant as submitted.
I move that the governing board accepts the AWARE Aware Suicide Prevention Grant as submitted.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there any discussion?
I would just say this is a win for our mental health systems. I know, suicide prevention is just an important thing, and we don't always know, or we're not always prepared how to handle things, and hopefully we won't have to address certain things now. But I know people who have and had suicide ideation and in their adult life. So if we can give them the tools and the skills now, and just they can they can help somebody in the future, I think this is a great opportunity.
Suicide is the highest cause of death for minors, last I checked, or one of the highest. It is definitely something that I would hope, even with this grant and even further to look into, it's one of the more profound things that our students face, and any resources we could have for that would be excellent.
I really appreciate this grant that was applied for and received. I know that this is probably personal to a lot of people more than we talk about. I know in my family has been affected by it as well. And when we talk about educating the whole child, this is definitely part of that work. So I look forward to what comes out of this, and I look forward to us focusing on these critical issues together, regardless of how hard and difficult they may be. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Moving to G, new business. G1, selection of district delegate. I call for a motion that the governing board select a district delegate and an alternate delegate to represent AESD as the district delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly.
I move that we select a district delegate to the Arizona School Board Association and alternative delegate, was that?
Mm-hmm.
Alternative delegate, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I second it.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez.
Who?
Discussion. Who would like to be the district delegate? Who's going?
I would propose Mr. Navarez as our district delegate. Last year I proposed somebody who wasn't here, but I think I will bypass that this time.
Mr. Navarez?
Yeah, I can go.
So Mr. Navarez has agreed to be the delegate, and then Mr. Oropesa, are you going to the law conference?
It's to be determined.
Okay.
I would like to, and I can be the alternate if need be.
Okay, sounds good. So Mr. Navarez will be the delegate and Mr. Oropesa will be the alternate. Um, All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Congratulations. Moving to G2, proposed 2024 political agenda. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the ASBA draft 2024 political agenda and direct the district's delegate, Mr. Navarez, to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board as represent the board has determined to represent the board's determined position.
I move that the governing board approve the Arizona School Board Association's draft 2024 political agenda and direct the district delegation, Mr. Navarez, to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board's determined position.
Thank you, Mr. Navarez. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving to H, comments and communications. H1, comments from governing board members.
This week I attended Arizona's IDEA conference, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act conference, and so it was good to see some Alhambra representation there.
Any comments, Mr.
No, it was just excellent seeing students back in school, seeing all the excitement, seeing the pristine campuses that we have, seeing the brand new blacktop at ATS and some other places. It was all very exciting. Keep it up.
My comments are brief. I just want to say thank you to all of you here in the audience. I know that you all are probably tired after a long second week of school. I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for putting your entire selves there. And I guess one thing I'll share is that I have a friend who has enrolled 2 students at one campus and 1 student at another campus. And she called me and she was absolutely thrilled with the customer service that she received. It was fast, it was personable, and she was very nervous bringing her children from a neighboring district. But after everything was said and done, she said that she felt extremely happy, extremely comfortable, and that our staff did an amazing job. So thank you, and she also happens to be our state representative, so good job, everybody. H2, governing board direction and/or agenda item requests.
I do have, this is, I think, along with the previous direction I had, as we saw our enrollment in some very different numbers between our schools, and it's probably already bouncing around in administrators' heads, but I would like to know some practical reasons and methodologies for the specific schools and strategies that are unique to those schools. Following up on that, I'm sure it's already taking place, but just to follow up on that would be appreciated.
So just to be clear, you would like some practical reasons and methodologies concerning the school sites that enrollment has declined?
The specific school sites, yeah, the specific school sites where enrollment has declined, and reasons for huge bumps in some of our schools as well. And so what we see in our sitemap is we see it's not down everywhere or up everywhere. It's all over the place. And so to get down to those reasons, I think would be really beneficial.
Thank you for the clarification. Mr. Navarez? Moving to H3, comments from superintendent and executive team.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, we'll begin our updates with Ms. Bilyeu, please. Thank you.
Thank you. President Conchas, members of the board, and Dr. Myers, you may recall in June that you approved the purchase of Parent Square. This tool replaced Blackboard as our previous mass communication tool and is changing the way we communicate with our community. So Parent Square is a very comprehensive tool. It provides a safe and easy way for parents to receive important information. They receive district and teacher communication all in one place. One of my favorite features, it has many features, but one of my favorites is that staff can communicate to our community in their preferred language. The community member or parent receives it in their preferred language, then communicates back in their preferred language, and it lands on the receiver in their preferred language. If you follow that, good job. But some data points. Parent Square is streamlining our communications, and the data looks great so far. We have 97% contactability with our families, which is unheard of. This means that 97% of our families can be reached using Parent Square at this moment in time. The goal is 100%, obviously. But with less than 1 month since the launch, 24% of our families have downloaded the app. Mind you, the app is not required for us to communicate with them, and you will see that number rise as you see schools engaging with families, like during a family night, and they're advertising those things. There's already been over 9,000 direct messages through the platform, and we've had 240 pictures shared with 709 posts. So we are officially meeting our parents where they're at in the language of their preference, which is helping us realize the desired outcome in our 5-year strategic plan that Alhambra has a systematic and strategic communication to strengthen connections with all stakeholders, and we're very excited about that.
Good evening, President Concha's Governing Board and Dr. Myers. My mic is not working either, but I have a really big voice. And, okay, oh yeah, for the online friends. Okay, I'm excited. This week it was like a holiday celebration for our counselors and social workers. Each of them received a large bag of what we are now calling the standard set of equipment. That standard set of equipment included things like Zenimals, sensory magnets, strategy games, weighted blankets, mood cards, all of these to provide the tools needed to support well-being, growth mindset, self-regulation, and other behavioral successes needed in alignment with the American School Counselors Association's professional standards and competencies for instruction and implementation, and AESD's 5YP Teaching and Learning Desired Outcome 1 using standards and research-based instructional strategies, all for the purpose of increasing achievement. So we're excited that our counselors now have, counselors and social workers have tools in their hand to help support our students every day.
Mine works, okay. Good evening, President Conchas, Governing Board members, Dr. Myers, and our Alhambra community. Last week, the Family Resource Center hosted their first Parent Volunteer Coordinator meeting of the school year, and I'm excited, really excited to share that Cecilia Hernandez, our our support staff, our recruitment and retention coordinator, was able to attend and speak and present with our parent volunteer coordinators, with just being able to speak about the wonderful opportunity about coming to Alhambra as an employee and, you know, making a difference in our community as as a part of our workforce. She was able to share the joy from her own personal experience of being a parent volunteer coordinator when she first started and being a volunteer and coming in. So as of today, just 1 week later, 5 business days, we've hired 1 person, and we have 1 more in the works. So we're excited to extend that. So, yeah, please, yep. Our community makes a big difference, for sure.
Thank you, President Conchas, Governing Board members, Superintendent Dr. Mayes. So back in June, we launched our student management systems, and the goal is to have an MTSS support, multi-layers, to help establish the expectations district-wide of what we expect to look and sound like as we are humans across our campuses, the small ones and the big ones. And it was great to be able to establish what things will look like on each campus. So this, at the beginning of the school year, these past 2 weeks, schools have had their behavior assemblies and have included attendance in that. So they've brought kids in, they've got, you know, they're jazzed up, they get them so excited. They talk about how they have so much pride about who they are on their campuses. They talk about how the awesome character they're going to show and the words they're going to use and how they're going to look down the hallways, even in the bathrooms, but just covering all the bases of these are our expectations as we are Alhambra kids. And in one assembly I was able to be at with Mr. Nevares, we were able to see how the staff was so excited to get the kids jazzed up about coming to school every day because they could win bikes. Oh my gosh. The crowd just went wild. So there's just a lot of great incentives and structures put in place to help our kids be more successful and to be in school.
Good evening again, President Conchas, governing board members, Alhambra community, Dr. Myers. As we saw through the presentation, literacy remains our focus this school year. And what began yesterday in our first district early release Wednesday was a very specific focus on writing. And I wanted to share with you all that in the course of this next semester, you will see a lot of efforts given to helping our students to become better writers. And we look forward to what that will bring and want to celebrate those couple schools who last year began their efforts in writing and actually started making some gains, one of which is here in the audience today, Mrs. Mackenzie Harris and Tina Bunch from her school. They were able to kickstart this summer the conversation about how we can improve writing in our schools, and we are very optimistic and excited for what that will bring. And I'll share just a really brief detail about writing from kindergarten to 8th grade. When you think about how might you help a kindergartner become a better writer, one of the strategies that was shared yesterday was as a student is drawing a picture, let's say, of a person, that you really want to highlight the details that that child includes in the drawing, right? That picture has eyelashes, or that there's green earrings, or that the lips are painted red. And it's through those simple details that students begin to create this commitment to sharing details in a meaningful way. And something as simple as drawing for a kindergartner eventually becomes a habit of including details in literacy. So we're excited that our writing efforts are going to extend from kindergarten through 8th grade and are very excited to see what that brings in our literacy efforts. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So as everyone knows, there are a lot of amazing things happening all around Alhambra, and so I'm just so very grateful. I began sharing my gratitude with our team in the back who presented on the amazing work happening in our libraries. I'm not a very emotional person, but when I saw that I did, I'm going to admit I had to hold back tears just because it makes me so excited, not only to know what's available in the libraries for our kids, but just to know their excitement and as our board members shared, just to inspire a love of reading, knowing how powerful that is. So thank you all for your hard work. Thank you, everybody. And Tanner, I know you've really led the efforts and just been such an advocate for the work. And so I'm sincerely grateful for you, for all you do. I'm thinking about, I know we have ADEA represented in our audience, and I've had a number of meetings with them this week. They hosted an event for all the members from around the district to come and visit, and so that was a pleasure to be able to meet with representatives from all of our schools. And I see Principal Harris in the audience. I'll share that your teacher, when I said, how are things going in our schools? And your representative said, it just feels so warm and fuzzy. And so... So that felt good, especially knowing that we did hear some things that we need to work on. But it's nice to know that our staff know how much they're cared about. And so I am thankful for the number of schools I was able to visit this week. I know I was at James W. Rice earlier today, and I just have to share because I think about even just as we visited classrooms, we also discussed just the number of things that our principals are doing. And Ms. Noble shared how she's been meeting with community action officers. And it's just so much more than just leading the academic journey for our kids. And so thinking about some of the challenges around the streets, and Ms. Noble did share how she's, again, being an advocate for the community, for the kids. And I know all of you are, as I know Ms. Harris, you too have met with officers in the last few days. And so, and again, like I said, so much more than just leading the instructional leaders that you're doing and so, or being. So again, everyone is working so hard, and I'm just so very grateful. And I want to share that I know that a number of our teachers have expressed that it's a bit overwhelming right now. And we know that being a teacher is not easy work. Working in schools, no matter what you do, it's not easy work. But I do just want to share that in my visits, one of my favorite things to do is to ask our kids how school is going for them and what they're enjoying. And I must share that overwhelmingly, all the kids are just so thankful to be in school. And they share such positive messages about our teachers and our staff, our leaders, and just all of you. And so despite the hard work that it is and how overwhelming it can be, know that each and every one of you are making a very big difference in the lives of our children and the lives of our community. And so I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and may everyone continue to be focused on our kids and the difference that you're making as we continue on the journey together. And then I just wanted to acknowledge a partner in the room from Read Better, Be Better, as our governing board approved the agenda, the consent agenda this evening. An agreement with Read Better, Be Better was on there, and we're very excited to see the great things to come in our schools as kids, again, continue to grow a love for reading. So thank you all, and may you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Moving to I, meeting closing. I1, next governing board meeting is September 14th, 2023. I2, calendar of events. I3, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Whoa. Thank you, Mr. Oropesa. Is there a second?
I second it.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Navarez. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes, and this meeting is adjourned.